And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. It is already Tuesday. Can y'all believe that? As this morning goes along, we're sitting at 76 as you're waking up, and it's going to be hot. Did I mention that? We'll have temperatures rising today somewhere around 97, 98. The heat index, oh boy, 109 is what we think we're going to get. It's another scorcher for us. Make sure you got plenty of fluid, some water, and electrolytes, all that good stuff as you're out and about doing what you do best. We got lots to talk about this morning. It was a lot of things that went on locally that we'll get into beginning at 7. I hope you'll join us for that show as well. We're going to get into the things that are shaping America this morning. A tragedy in New York. Have y'all seen that? Some issues in Cincinnati, and we'll go all around the globe here in the U.S. and let you know what's happening. All that's coming next. Let's go to First Baptist there in Collinsville now.
How do you know that someone loves you? What are the telltale signs that they genuinely care about you and for you? Well, it could be what they say, but we also know that words without action are pretty empty. So when it comes down to it, we know when someone loves us, well, by how they act towards us, right? We know that God loves us, of course, because the Bible tells me so. But we also know because He proved it. Jesus really did die on the cross and rise from the grave. That's why Romans 5 says that God proves His own love for us, and that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. On an earthly level, I know there are people in my life who love me because they prove it day in and day out. I never have to wonder. Well, the proof of our love for Jesus is found, yes, in what we say, but it's also in how we live. In 2 John, the 5th and 6th verses read, "So now I ask you, dear lady, as if I were writing you a new command, but one that we have heard from the beginning, that we love one another. This is love, that we walk according to His commands. This is the command, as you have heard it from the beginning, that you walk in love." See, the proof of love for God in the life of a person is found in loving each other and in doing what God says. Far too often, and I've seen so many in this life that think they can claim love for God, all the while completely disregarding His word and love for others. It does not work that way. So my challenge to all of us, myself included, is that if we claim to know Jesus and love Him, then we must love each other and we must do what He says. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Oof. I hope you enjoyed that message this morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. As we begin this day, we just got word. Use caution if you're in the area of North Hills. Naked man is on the walk today. We just got in a fresh picture. We'll send Odie out to investigate here in just a moment. You have to drive with both eyes. Keep him on the road, the best I can tell you there. But he's out and about. Maybe the police will show up and take care of that little issue this morning. I'm not making fun of anybody before we get started. I want to be clear about that. But do y'all remember? I can remember it as a kid, and I saw this out of the corner of my eye a moment ago. Sally Struthers. Do you remember that name from All in the Family, Meathead, the blonde-headed chick? And she'd done those commercials that annoyed me as a kid. She asked for food for Feed the Children while she was actually eating the food bank. Because the proof was in the pudding. But it's her birthday today. And again, I'm not making fun of anybody, but I just remember that like it was yesterday. They would go on and on, those commercials, begging for money. Even as a kid, I can remember that. As we begin headlines across America, what's shaping us? Hall of Famer, the Cubs legend Ryne Sandberg has passed away at the age of 65 from a battle with cancer. We pass condolences to his family. That's a rough one there. I saw one of those, what we call the quote of the day, or maybe the text message of the day, however you want to word that, tweet of the day. Maybe that's even better there. It comes from Homeland Security. Every now and then they'll put something out that, well, it says a lot. To every criminal, illegal alien in America, darkness is no longer your ally. You represent an existential threat to the citizens of the United States, and U.S. Border Patrol Special Operations Group will not stop at nothing to hunt you down. So kind of serial over that as they start tracking down. They've gotten 200 sexual predators out of Houston over the last, I think it's 6 months, and hardcore ones that were in our nation. Horror, as I mentioned just a moment ago, New York City. A former NFL guy that basically had a problem with the NFL after being cut. It looks as though he had some issues. 4 people were killed. He makes 5, including a police officer that responded to the scene. It was a police officer, 3 civilians, and then him. The police officer attempted, and he was killed. He acted alone. He was from Las Vegas. It was in Manhattan where all of this went down in a high-rise there on the 33rd floor. Now, you will see pictures. They're floating around everywhere today of the gunman lying on the floor where he took his own life. And that's what happened there. Motive has not been determined officially, although I am hearing more and more about that, of dealing something with the NFL to where he was upset over. I just can't imagine this working. In the Deep South, you have electricity, and then you'll have some gas backup in case you need heat and whatnot. But New York, and you got to remember, New York is very cold. They're mandating that all new buildings under 7 stories must be all electric starting January 1st and 26. So what's wrong with having a little propane or natural gas for backup heat? You won't be able to get that in New York. Building Code 101, I guess. They give you a lot of reasons to leave New York. It's cold up there, y'all. I know there's some of you that watch that are either probably from there or have close ties to it. Downright embarrassing, I guess, is what you'll call this one. What happens when you throw a pity party? And what I mean by pity party is Colbert. Do you know who I'm talking about? The late night host? Stephen Colbert. They done a rally for them firing him. Guess how many people showed up? Oh, you guessed it was 20. Made a big liberal impact there. Great for him. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, of what happened in Cincinnati. A tourist was in town. It was a female. Now, you've got the police chief issuing statements trying to make it sound as, well, we protected everybody else but this one person. There's a very liberal comeback on this. She was punched. She was beaten by men. She was there on vacation. That never needs to happen. Where are our standards in America? Oh, I could go on, and you're probably thinking what I'm thinking of how it should have been handled. We don't allow that. The police need to make an example of this, and the judges as well. Hey, how do you get away with what you want? Move to Maine. Well, we never really hear of it. It's kind of like Vermont. It's up there, but well, I don't know that I could at this point. If you were to put me on one of those, I'd have to phone a friend to name a city in Maine at this point because I hear so little about it. But let's go on up there and take a look at what's going on. They've arrested a police officer. And I know you're going, say it ain't so. But it is so. Here's the kick to it. Well, he's an illegal alien. No, I didn't just make that up. Those background checks are really working out up there in Maine. I feel safer right now that, well, the Maine police are out running background checks on people they arrest. I've never heard of this area. Old Orchard Beach PD is where all of this took place. I'm not sure what part of it, but it's up yonder way. I'm telling you, they're on a roll up there. Maine is where it all is. Huh. Here is something that rattles my soul, and it will be yours once I tell you this. You may already know about it. Let's go to Birmingham, Alabama. Child Protective Services, you know what I'm talking about, where they show up where a child is in danger from its parents. Now, we've all heard stories to where false calls were made to child services and a child is taken away and nothing really went on. We don't really know all the circumstances of why this child was taken. There's word that there possibly could have been drugs in the home. But let me tell you what I do know that is fact. The person that was contracted to pick up that child from that home, 3 years old, picks up the child, decides to go to Walmart. Goes to Walmart. Well, then decides that she needs a pack of smokes. Well, she goes and does that. Then she goes home to, rest a little bit. And she left that little boy in the car. He died of heat exhaustion. Where is the accountability? You have a job to do. You take care of your job first. You don't do your errands on your job. There's been people, I think, removed from their duties locally for doing things on the clock when they weren't supposed to. Now, they've already been terminated, but that's not going to bring back that little boy's life, is it? No, it's not. Accountability, America. 3 years old, taking someone from their parents when you're putting them in harm's way. It needs to be a thorough check, whoever works for these agencies that do this. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm running, but there's some good people in those agencies that mean well. But they also hire people that, we need better backgrounds. You know what I mean? Doing your job first and doing it right is the most important. Now we've lost a child. Grand Sierra Resort, Reno. 3 people murdered in the parking lot. It goes on and on of stories like this across America. Biden's ex-chief of staff, as I read through this, you would really had to have been just tone deaf. Is that a word that I can use, tone deaf? Where you're just absolutely tuned out to your surroundings of what's going on around you. His ex-chief of staff admits, well, he knew he was mentally unfit. He sort of forgot to tell anybody else, or maybe he did and nothing was done. I can't tell you the many times that me and Odie have sat here, and I know it's not nice, but we chuckled because it was the president of the United States. They would be pointing for him to go this way, and off in the grass he'd go this way, smiling, looking for ice cream.
Take a right, take a right.
Go right, he'd go left. He would exit the wrong side. And that ain't normal. Y'all know that as well as I do, but it was overlooked by the media, and they said that the rest of us really didn't know what we were talking about, didn't they? As we talk about what is going on in America and the legacy media, and what I mean is those big names that you've known since you were children paint a different story from reality a lot of times. And as I go back and I touch on this illegal alien situation where the borders were open, some agree with me, some don't. But there is no doubt the facts were that you could get into the United States no matter who you were. If you were a good person or a criminal, well, it really didn't matter. You were let in. I say all that to where, have you ever seen a death happen and you go, gosh, I wish I could have done something? And most of the time the response is there's absolutely nothing that you could have done in reality. But I've got a case that, well, it's not that way. I go to Wisconsin. We had illegal aliens there, drunk driving. They hit 2 teenagers head on and killed them. Now, had the previous administration been doing their job and allowing only the good people into our country, maybe that wouldn't have happened. But they were illegal, and you can't dance around that. It was illegal against the law for them to be in our nation, and they've taken the lives of 2 young Americans. That makes me mad as well. And it should rattle your cage as well. Texas, there at the border, they've seized $1 million worth of cocaine out of a vehicle. I don't know if we've gotten an actual street value of that Mary Jane that was captured in our city last week. I'm not sure the value of it, but it is a pretty good steep amount there. Yeah. This is still in the early stage of this, and they're calling it, they've already given it a name, Obamagate. Or y'all up to date on this? This goes back to the dossier, the one that they used that was, well, they're telling us there's going to be more coming on this. It started out with Hillary and that dossier, and then she handed it over to the FBI, CIA. The CIA director, Ratcliffe, says there's a whole lot more coming with this. After they got their hands on it, they would enhance it and add to the lies of what was already out there. All in an effort to go after Donald J. Trump. Whether you like Donald J. Trump or not, if they will do that to a former president, what will they do to you? Makes you think sometimes things are rogue in our country. Make no mistake, and we see this locally, we see this on a state level, and then you can only imagine after it leaves the state as you get to Washington, D.C., just how rough it could be to where someone with an agenda gets a job. Now, y'all know what I mean by that. And sometimes it's called, well, payback. If I don't like you, I'm going to do this to you. It's done on a local level. You know that as well as I do. It gets to the state level, it gets a little bit worse. And by the time you reach Washington, D.C., it's alligators and no telling what all. Facts are facts. Never say never. Anybody ever heard that? I say that and because it makes me giggle when I read it. And then on the other hand, I remember one time I giggled at Bernie Sanders. And boy, I had to eat those words. He made a speech and I was like, there ain't no way in America that'll ever happen. And guess what? It happened in America. The headline reads, Cortez, you know, AOC, she wants to be president. One part of me goes, oh no, but there's folks that vote out there that'll scare you. I'm just letting you know. Vote. Know who you're voting for. Because mistakes can happen and, well, I may have to eat my words. You never know. J.D. Vance. And I get his point. And then some of you on one side are going to go, well, they're trying to ward off all the questions, and which may be true. And J.D. was asked recently about the Epstein files. And he paused and he said, well, for the last 4 years under Joe Biden's administration, you never asked one single thing, did you? They're asking now, that's for sure. We'll see where all this leads. Let's get into the airplane world. What's going on nationwide with airplanes? Delta pilot about to fly transatlantic. They were bound for New York City, was canceled after they gave the pilot a breathalyzer test drunk. Rump row, you can't be having all that. Getting ready to take off from Switzerland. That's just one of the stories as you go to, let me see here. Here we go here. Delta Airlines is apparently having a rough time as well with employees as the plane lands. And you may have already read this. The pilot was arrested when feds in San Francisco. It touched down, it lands. Plane hadn't emptied, and, well, agents enter the cockpit. They arrested the co-pilot. Sexual charges of minors. He had been digging into all of that. I guess, what do you call that when they're child porn is the best and only way I know how to word that. So much of that in America. We have another airplane incident. 7 were injured. Injured is the key word. Thank heavens we're using that word. As a plane went down in Florida, crashed into a car as it landed, 7 people were taken to the hospital. I don't see anything about deceased. That's the good word.
It hit car.
Yeah. Here's I literally, as they say, laughed out loud. You ever had that one person in the news department that I guess is not really good at what they do, and they can't find anything for them to go do real news, and so they make up a story for them to go do. So they set the lady down, and I just don't get it. Is what this even matters. But she decides to do a story on men who voted MAGA. Well, they voted liberal. They claim that they're a big liberal and they can't stand Donald Trump or anything that the MAGA world goes to. So she sends a picture of herself, and apparently she was fairly attractive, to see if they wouldn't date her or not because she was a MAGA voter. Not one man turned her down. The moral of that story is men are men. If you're good looking, they can get past your politics.
Don't talk about this at the dinner table.
That's the best I can tell you. But it must have been a really, really slow news days for them to send somebody out for that. Fort Knox is where we go next for a headline where we have a soldier who has passed away during summer training. 21 guns will be a salute as he heads home. We see that a high school football player, this is one of those bad ones, they're in Tennessee, also died from a heat stroke while practicing. Y'all be careful out there. Again, our area today is going to be hot, and we've got details on the forecast next. This is one of those heart-touching things. Michigan is where we go for this. And how many of you have had a family reunion? Probably most. There's a few of us that our families have dwindled down, and we could, if we had a phone booth, could all fit in it. But there's a lot of people that even get the T-shirts with the family name on it. And they have their family get-togethers. Watch your children. In Michigan, a 6-year-old little boy wandered off from the crowd. He drowned in a swimming pool. That's awful, isn't it? We'll be right back with headlines with your weather forecast. That's next here at the Scotty Ray Report.
Hi, this is Nick at Doc's Toyota, and we are excited to put you in a new Toyota today. We have no dealer markup, no hidden fees, no hassle, and our inventory is always priced to move. Our top-notch sales department and first-class service after the sale guarantees you a fast and comfortable buying experience like you've never had. So come see why month after month, more and more customers have chose to buy from Doc's Toyota. So come see us here at Doc's Toyota in Philadelphia at docstoyota.com or on Facebook. And remember, there's no deal like a Doc's deal.
For over 40 years, you've been able to count on Watt Equipment in DeKalb, Mississippi. They've got your Massey Ferguson's brand new 23 up to 135 horse cab and air tractors. They've got all your hay equipment needs, all your bush hogs. If your tractor needs it, they got it. Also remember, they service all makes and models, whether it's green, orange, blue, red, or yellow. They can get your parts in, they can do your service on your equipment. Don't forget Watt Equipment, DeKalb, Mississippi.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA.
As we go for our record highs and lows this morning, 1930, we set it at 102. We'll be a little shy today of that with that high of 97, but we'll top it with the heat index. 109 is scheduled for you this afternoon. Look at this, back in 94, well, Dylan Ray was born that year. It was 61 during that time. No forecast from Jackson yet. We go to Alabama. They sent us one. 96 is set for Demopolis, 97 there in Birmingham. Clanton will reach 96, and we'll even see 95 over there with the Auburn Tigers there. As we go to our heat indexes here, dangerous heat today. We could see 110 to 120 today in this area. We're already forecasted for 109. We could top this before the afternoon is out, and a lot of times we do. We'll keep you posted on that. Tomorrow, it looks like we'll fall in the 105 to 110 era in the Meridian area. Everything west of us is going to be hot as well. What we've got up until Thursday, Jackson area, Vicksburg, and up through the Delta will still be that 120 area, and the Meridian area should be at 110. Now, I don't care where you slice it, what you're doing over the next 3 days in Mississippi and Alabama, it's going to be horrible with the heat. Be careful there. Here's what we got for the outlook for the next 10 days. There's more heat wave coming from West Texas toward the deep south. As we look at today, that high of 97, there's a 30% chance of showers happening, most likely between 2 and 5 this afternoon. Now, don't get me wrong, wind and everything can change this, but that's what we're looking at this point. 2 to 5 p.m., some showers there, about a 30% chance. Again, the high today, 97, with a heat index of 109. We increase to a 70% chance of rain Wednesday and Thursday, and then jump to a 60% on Friday, and the weekend is not much better. 50 and 60% chance of showers each day. It's tough to mow your grass and wash your car all in the same day, isn't it? Look at this. As we get to Sunday, we get into the 80s once again due to all this rain. It drops the temperature to about 87. We should see 86 on Monday with more rain. As we get to Tuesday, rain chances start dropping down to roughly a 20% chance, and it'll hold steady to that until about the 12th there. Highs will be in lower 90s with nighttime lows in the mid-70s. Now let's check out about our fishing forecast today as we go out to Clarkdale Super Red. Major times to fish today is going to be this afternoon beginning between 4 and 6 p.m. You'll have a minor time this morning around 10 a.m. till 11 o'clock. A couple times fish there. The wind's going to be calm, becoming northwest around 5. Now sunrise happened at 6:07. Sunset rolls in tonight at 7:53. What's going on here as we go to the Gulf of America? Absolutely nothing. As we go to the National Hurricane Center, nothing on forecast. That is good. I'm glad to see that, aren't you? But it ain't over. Let me warn you about that. As we go to Doc's Toyota radar this morning, we'll see that. Boy, look at the rest of Mississippi. Now, I do expect all of this to move over into the Meridian area, Philadelphia, Louisville. You're going to be included this as we go north of there at Stark Vegas. Already an extreme heat warning to where we've got just the heat advisory for us now. Again, all of this peach color is about 110. If you got purple there, it's 110 to 120 heat index. Look at that. The south is catching it. Biloxi, look at it's on the coast there. Highway 90 area. A few showers out in the Gulf of America. It looks like it's headed toward the Florida coastline this morning. Nothing going on in Louisiana at this point. That's a quick look at our forecast as we get this morning well underway. Are we all ready for this? We'll tell you about some gunshots that went bang, bang in the middle of the night, and they struck something, Odie.
Uh-oh.
They made contact. We'll tell you all about where that was and what's going on throughout the area. That's up and coming this morning, beginning at 7. Won't you join us? We'd love to have you a part of what we do every day. This is your first time, welcome. We'll be back in roughly, let's say 2 minutes. We'll be back live with the morning show here at the Scotty Ray Report.